Aloha everyone, Krista Lakshmi here, and just a moment I'll start that on Facebook as well. Aloha, my name is Krista Laksmi-Ditton and I am an abundance anthropologist, and I'm saying aloha from Hawaii, the big island. And today I wanted to do this live to talk about a topic which has been very kind of important in my life too, because I have worked through it several times myself in my personal life. And I also have had several of my clients or even friends, struggling with the similar issues. So I will talk about situations when you really kind of feel like you can't get your way out, or you're like stuck, or what's even worse, like you get to that point where you feel like, oh my God, like I have to kill myself, kind of on that edge where you feel like, okay, I'm gonna commit a suicide. So I feel personally that not many people are talking about this, and I feel that this is a very important topic to talk a little more about, so that we will kind of get the understanding why things go to that point and how we can prevent people to do that for themselves. So I see Merike is here, aloha, and who else is here? Just give me a note, and I would like everyone who is coming to join me today to say and share with me 3 things they are grateful for. So would be really, really nice to hear. And I see Kaya is here, aloha, very nice to have you today as well. So in my life, I think I've been to that point at least like 3 times where I kind of felt like, okay, I'm done with this life and like the whole thing. But actually, I think it's 4 times. Yeah. I had like different times in my life where those moments happen. I will share some of those with you today as examples, because it's easier to connect and understand the core essence of these issues this way. And then I will go through like the way how I worked myself kind of out of this and what happened. So Kaya says aloha, aloha, very nice to have you here today. So one thing, when I go back in time, was 1999, when my partner at the time came home one day and said, sorry, I have a new partner. So for me, this was a major collapse on so many levels, because we had been living together for so many years already, and family for me was like the biggest accomplishment in my life. I never had a really good family in my childhood. So for me, this was like, wow, at least I already have accomplished something. I had a family. So if you would take family away from me, I had like nothing to identify myself with. And I saw myself as the biggest failure on this planet. So that was a really crazy moment. So that time we just got in the landline phone, and I thought like, okay, before I'm gonna do anything crazy, because I got into that point where it's like, there's no point to live. Like, I have no place to go, I have no job, I have no money. So I don't even know if I would like manage, out there in the wild right now. So it's like, okay, I'm going to call to what they call, I think in English, like a trust line or something, lifeline, something similar, where you kind of call when you feel like, okay, I'm done with life. Like I'm like not really inspired to live here anymore. So I called, and this lady was really nice, and she gave me feedback and asked questions. And one thing what also came out was that I was so desperately trying to make this relationship work, that what happened was that I actually started to disconnect with my true self, because I was really trying to love or be liked by my partner. So to do whatever I could do so that he would still like me, at least, if not love. But if some relationships are done, they're done. There is nothing you can really force or kind of make to pull it together. So it's like, okay. And then understanding that I had disconnected myself from my true self was like even worse. It's like, okay, well, now I have like nothing really. I don't even have myself. I'm just like, empty body, empty shell, And then what happened was, I was like, okay, so what do you think? Like, I'm really like on that age, like I feel like I'm gonna like kill myself. There's like no reason to live. And she was really bringing me back to start to think about your son. Like your son is 2.5 years old. If you like kill yourself right now, then your son will be like, out there alone without you, And if you move to another country, it's still, your son will be still, available. You can talk to him and so on. So you're still there. You could still support him and be there for him. So that totally made sense. And I understood that, okay, girl, you have to pull yourself together. And your son is your gift for your life. And you have to really, push yourself through. And this is what I decided to do and kind of pull myself together. So it took several years actually to really kind of move out of this, because first I moved away, I had nothing, so I tried to find out a new job, rent one room in an apartment, and then also someone to babysit my son. And then came out that the babysitter had run away from home, so the police was after her. So I couldn't, of course, do that anymore. So I had to take my son back to his dad temporarily, which turned into permanent after a while. So basically, I had no place to stay. I had no home. I had no money, no work. I lost that job as well. So it was like crazy, like nothing was really working. So luckily, I had someone kind of giving me their apartment while they were in a summer cottage. And then afterwards, I could rent like a little room in one apartment, my friend's mom's house. So I could kind of figure out my ways to move further. So what I did was actually that I got the opportunity to go and study in Danish folk high school, and I got a stipend. So this is always a good way to move out of it, to learn something new. So you set your mind into something new. So that really worked. And then later, when I got to that point, like kind of also like, okay, nothing's really working. And usually it goes to that very core survivor level, like, we take the Maslow pyramid. So it's place to stay, food, and money. So if you take those three things away, a person can go completely into some people can even go like completely into shock, and it's actually a really good awakening for most people, because then they have to reset and reorganize and re-choose things and so on. So also now in retrospect, when I look back, these years, which was these years after that breakup was very, very hard, but it was one of the cornerstones for all the transformations I've had in my life after that. So it's been a very crucial breaking moment in my life, and I've been very grateful to my ex-partner. I've even hugged him and thanked him for that choice. And luckily, he got married to a new woman, and they have been together now all these years, and also have two new kids. So they are very happy together. So I'm very happy for that. So that's like amazing that worked out for him. So, and then my son stayed most of the time with him, and then later, just recently, I was a little more there for my son when he really needed me. So that was really good. So throughout my life, every time when I got to that point, my son was my anchor. I understood that God kind of sent him to me so that I would like keep myself going. And if I had done the suicide that moment, I wouldn't be here talking to you and sharing this story. So I had to experience all these things so that I could help people who are in the similar situation, or just inspire people that, one moment you are here doing like thinking of doing a suicide, and then next moment, like some 20 something years later, you are in Hawaii living, your dream and being married happily. So it's like two different kind of points, and that's how life is. You can go from one extreme to another, but you have to create it consciously in between. So what I was doing was basically I also kind of went through a list of things which I discovered, like what happened when I got to those points when I was like really like kind of giving up. So one of the reasons was the fear. I got into the fear that I'm not like good enough, or I can't really perform something really well. So when I chose that reality from that point of view, of course, I created that reality, that point of view, and I also created more fear. So another three elements is mind, body, spirit. So if we don't take care of our mind, body, spirit regularly and don't feed it regularly, then what happens is that you basically you can't really be centered in yourself. You oftentimes checked out. And when people get to that point of like kind of suicide moment, then usually they are already checked out, because it's just so painful, that moment when you think you're completely alone, no one is there for you. There is always someone who you can like speak to. There are organizations who are working with those issues, so you have to just reach out. Nowadays we have internet, you can go there and you can feed your mind, body and spirit all the time with conscious tools and things. Read a book, train, do things which you really enjoy. Another big thing was to understand that I was actually responsible for creating that situation, that it just didn't happen to me. That actually, if I go back in time into that like core thought, what was like kind of leading me there, came out that, wow, and that was actually my own creation. Like I got to that point because I didn't believe in myself, or had fear, or whatever, else. And you can eliminate that thought and like kind of plant a new one. So, and be more conscious what you do and what you choose. Every choice is creating your reality, whatever it is. Who you go out with, what do you do, what you eat, when you sleep, who do you have sex with. Every choice is helping so towards it. Another thing about that checking out from your body, mind and spirit is also that we do it because it's so painful, but we also have to be very, very like aware that we shouldn't like check out, because when we check out, then it's so much harder to get things going again. Another thing which is connected to the mind, body, spirit is your self-love. If you are taking care of those three elements, so basically your self-love container will be always full, and this will help to keep yourself centered like all the time. And one really important thing is basically, if you get to that point, one of the first things is like, okay, what is the number one reason why I still should stay here, should be here? Is there a person I would like to, commit or to contribute? If you have children, then of course it's your obligation to be here for them. And then do you have a partner? Do you have colleagues? Do you have family or friends who need you? And if they don't need you, you can just choose one person. It's really, really who is really, really inspiring you, because this can be the cornerstone for your new life. And I've had these moments so many times. I remember this one time I was in South Africa. So all of my money was running out, and I knew that this will happen because I didn't get enough funding for my stay there for filming my documentary. So like halfway through, all my funds were like gone. All my accounts were empty. So I was like, okay, that's no good. So what's the worst thing what can happen? I was thinking in my head. It's like, okay, basically I would have no food, and then I would die of starvation. And then I thought like, oh my God, like then I die, and then I have to like be born again, probably because I didn't finish my lesson, so to say. I believe in reincarnation. So I have to come back, be the baby again, and like go to school and kindergarten. It's like, oh my God, it's like 30 years like kind of wasted. So I was like, okay, I'm going to get my sleeves up. I'm going to make it and I'm going to get through it. And then I put my focus down and it's like, okay, what can I do here so that I can also create money? And I started to offer angel card readings online. And most of these came from Estonia at the time. So basically, half of the movie was actually financed by Estonian people who took my angel card readings. So it's like, how amazing is that? And then I started to do different cooperation projects locally, so creating different workshops together and so on. So I remember this one time I got like I had like zero money for quite a while, and then I got like, maybe it's equal like to like 100 euros or dollars or something like that. And then if you have had like zero money and you suddenly get like 100, it's a lot of money. So especially I think like because your thinking has been like changing so small, and you have like figured out like, okay, how much is like one banana cost, and like how much is like one avocado, and like how you can kind of alternate and make things work. And then suddenly it's like, oh my god, I'm like a millionaire. It's really interesting what it does with your perspective. And then also I understood that why I had to experience this in South Africa was because now I was on the level where most very many people there actually were living from, like with very little money, very little, to manage. So I could understand like where they are coming from, what's going on. So I had to get like a personal experience on that matter like that. So when I realized that too, I was like, okay, that was nice, but I don't need that experience anymore. So can we move on? Like, can we turn the page now and then create like a different scenario? So very important. So when you have found your reason to live, then basically the next step is to put your focus on mind, body, spirit techniques and fulfillment. And one of the ways I did it once in Mexico when I had my low moment was that I just took like 30 days. I'm going to go to the ocean every day. I don't care what comes of it or what doesn't come of it. I'm just going to do this like no matter what. And 30 days later, I had an idea how to start to do water therapy classes in the ocean because the ocean was so warm during the summer. And then I'm going to also name it my own water therapy, which is called Wantra. And I'm also going to do these classes in the ocean. So people would just pay me a little donation, and then I'll just kind of experiment, see what's like happening. And we experimented for several months. People's lives started to change. Their chronic pain started to go away. And I was like, oh my God, this is so amazing. Like, this is really working. And then once I started to get positive feedback about my contribution to their lives, it just completely shifted my perspective. And it's like, wow, I'm actually needed. Like, I can actually contribute to people and their lives and their bodies and their mind and their spirit, So it really inspired me like to, do more. I see Anu is here and here. Aloha to both of you. And please, if you can, also leave a little message what you are grateful for today, 3 things. And the topic today is actually suicide or low moments, how to get out of those at the moment. So, and then going back to that Mexico example also, I realized that I can also start to be a volunteer, because volunteer thing is really cool. You give all your attention to someone else, you're helping someone else, and it doesn't even need to be big thing. It can be whatever little thing, and you can see that your life matters, your contribution matters, and that thing that we feel like we are not needed or that we don't matter is the worst thing, and one of the main reasons which is pushing us into that corner. So that really helped me as well. So, and then of course the realization that there is only one of us in the room. And this morning we also published actually a blog post about this in English on Infinite Activation page. So I can put the link underneath here later so you can check it out. So So that's really amazing. If you think of that perspective, the unity energy kind of perspective. So I'm actually a reflection of all of you who you are on the other side of the screen, and the contrary, so there is only one person in the room. So now think, if I'm in trouble and then you are just my reflection, so what would you like to do? So instinctively, if you go to that level of thinking, of perspective, you feel like I have to help you because you are part of me. So if I help you, I help actually myself. So in my life, when I had this low moment in Mexico and my friends were helping me, that was amazing. Like 2 months, basically living with them. I had really little money, so I contributed as much as I could. And that's actually lots of good things came out of it. I actually even initiated projects so that they got new tires for their car, because another friend wanted to go and travel someplace, and then we all came together and put the money together and got the new tires for the car. So they were like, Crystal, you are amazing. Like, we want to have you around all the time. You're so like creative with ideas and solutions and stuff. So, and it's oftentimes like, you can contribute not only with money, but just with your presence or ideas. And I was so amazed. Like, these friends of mine, they didn't have jobs, themselves, and they didn't have much money, but they shared their house with me. They shared their food with me. They were just so like aloha. It's amazing. And of course, if any time in their lives they will come to a situation where they need my help, I will be there for them, because without them, I don't know where I would be today. So that was a very crucial moment. And if you see in your like environment or in your like surroundings people who are really struggling, then it's really good to step up and see what can you do. Especially if you see that the person would appreciate it. And also, of course, you can ask like if they even need it, and then if they would appreciate it. And also, if it doesn't come from that like victim place, like, oh, I'm victim and no one wants me and I'm gonna kill myself, and kind of like whoa kind of story, then of course not. But because they have to step up and have to make their first steps too. But if it's really someone really resourceful and somehow things have not really gone well, then your little help can really go a long way. So I really recommend to check that out. Then another big issue is that nowadays we are not living really communally anymore. I mean, now people are starting to do it more and coming together more and kind of getting it back, as here in Hawaii as well. But it's still kind of pretty individualistic. It's like very like kind of capitalism is very kind of individual kind of focused. Everyone is just taking care of their own thing, and what happens this way is that you get very fragile. Like, if you get into trouble situation, there's no one to help you. Over here in Hawaii, everyone is helping everyone. So if my car runs down in the middle of nowhere, I can call a couple of friends and say like, hey guys, can you come and help me, or if there is anything, you have people you can reach out to. So that's so crucial, and that doesn't happen overnight. You have to approach people yourself and build those relationships yourself, and also take care of that two-way street all the time. So it's very, very important. But that perspective that we are not alone, that will change. It's like such a game changer. Amazing. So if anyone has questions about the topic, or any other ideas or any comments, if you have been into the moment where you felt like, okay, I don't matter, or even experienced the suicide kind of moment, you can share here. If you don't want to share here, you can contact me later privately. And before I wrap this up today in English, I wanted to also share this little exercise we did today with the canoe, because Mondays is my canoe paddling day. And today we had another lady who has been doing lots of racing with us, and she gave us a really amazing exercise. So We have 6 people in the canoe. So the first person will paddle like 12 times on one side and then 12 times on the other side, and then stops paddling, and then the rest of the people don't paddle when this one person is paddling, and then the number 2 starts to paddles on one side, paddles on the other side, and then the third and fourth and fifth. So what happens is that when you are the only person paddling, it's super hard because you have the weight of 6 people in the canoe, and then you have the weight of the canoe, and then you are the only one like pushing the canoe forward. So the others can help with their body movements, but still you have the full power, And then once we were done, all of us had done that, and then we started to, paddle all together. Oh my God. It was like night and day. It was like, it felt so like light. It was like amazing. It was like unbelievable. So it was so like easy. And then I understood in life, it's the same. We think that we are the only ones in the canoe, and no one is there to help us or, paddle with us. But the fact is that any moment in our lives, we have actually people who are surrounding us or who are actually in our canoe for certain tasks or certain situations or whatever you are creating, And there are some who are in your canoe all the time, and there are some who are like coming, depending on what you are doing and so on. And I was just like sharing in the Estonian one that Estonian women are really strong and they usually do everything alone and so on. And most Estonian women, and I think also other countries, we think that, we have to do things our own and only alone. But these times are over. We are now getting into the time where we have to work with polarization and balance those polarizations, the queen and the king energy and the conscious queen and king, so that we can use both of these according to our needs. And we have to receive the help and cooperate with other people so that we can all paddle together as one, as the Hawaiians traditions does. So this is something to also take with you from Hawaii and from my paddling. I'm transferring this to you and kind of think in your life, like where do I see, like, who is in my canoe right now, who is really, cooperating and listening. And, what's really funny too. So when we are actually training now for a little recreational race. So what's happening is that you basically learn a lot also to be in a sync. So the first person takes and picks the pace. The second person is following the first person. The third person is following the second person. So my paddle, actually, if I'm in the number 3, my paddle goes in when the number 2 person's paddle is going in. And so if you go all the way like this, so the person who is in a captain position actually will see that the whole boat works like one. It's like a oiled machine which is working all together. Everyone is contributing and it's all in sync. And this is another thing. Most people, we get so out of sync with ourselves, and then we get so out of sync when we try to do things with others that it's really, really hard to get ahead. And the thing is, when you get out of sync with yourself, that's the moment also when you are most weakest, and you can end up in that corner situation and think like, oh, no, nobody needs me. I'm going to kill myself, So it's a very serious issue. Talking about it, like I do it just from my personal experience and share what I have been through and what I have used. I'm not a doctor, so if you are really in a very clinical and difficult situation, I would really recommend to talk to a professional who is dealing with these issues. But if you need a coach or someone who would like give you a different perspective about these things where you get stuck, then I can be here for you. You can let me know. I do online sessions all over the world all the time, all year round. And also what's really cool with me is that I also will look your energy picture, which will show me what's going on and where you need to maybe adjust and what you could do. So it's like kind of a little figuring out like where things are and why things are like kind of running into the blockage. And one thing also, I didn't mention that in a Estonian one, but I noticed also if you are transformed, which means that you have done aura transformation, or you are already in the indigo crystal or golden energies, then what happens is if you at some point in your life, in your new energy life, are going off the course, like because after the transformation, or if you are in the new energy, there are only two things which are really, really important, actually three. One is to figure out what your life mission, different details and sections are, and put that in use. Then find your spirit mate. And then third, like keep yourself in balance all the time on every level. So life mission thing is like if you really get off the track of your life mission and you're kind of thinking of, oh, I'm going to do this work just for money or whatever, in the new time, the spirit energy will not allow you to do that. So it will take everything away so that you could reset and say like, okay, I'm ready to fulfill my mission now. Where are the people, where are the situations and possibilities where I can start to live my dream and live my mission now? And then start to ask this question daily, and then suddenly the course of your boat will change, and you'll find yourself in a completely different setting and different team and different direction, and you get yourself going again. This has happened so many times to me, and I didn't realize it that time, that many times these blockages or these corners where I was getting was exactly because my spirit was telling me, Crystal, this is the wrong direction you're going. Can't you get it? And then also when I'm so busy or like so scared or whatever, my intuition gets really kind of quiet. And then it's like, oh my God, yeah, my intuition has been talking to me and I'm not really listened to it. And then, getting it together, like, okay, I have to work with this and listen to it, and then get the guidance and keep myself on track. So very simple. So anyways, I don't see anyone writing anything here at the moment. So in case you have some other comments to put here later, even after it's done live, you can do that. Or if you have anything else to share about this personally with me, you can do that. And if you need help or a different perspective, you can also let me know. Or if you need someone else in person, I can also guide you to different people in different countries, even different places. So just let me know. So I hope this gathering was really amazing. You got lots out of it. And my request or I'll ask you all if this was really inspiring. If you know people who are struggling with these issues right now, share it with them. And if not, then just share it with 5 people. I think every one of us has had situation like this, maybe during the life. And if not, they probably know someone who is struggling at the moment. And this is my gift to all of you. And I hope this was really inspiring. So aloha, mahalo, and all the best till the next time.